The elephant's faithful, 100%. And then as he's sitting there one day, I think they were touring Painesville at the time, the circus. And Macy was flying by, and she said, whoa, look at the confusion down there, all that stuff going on down there. Boy, I'm kind of an active person. I want to go and see what's going on. So she kind of flies down there and go see what's going on and see the show. And there's an elephant there. And then she says, my gracious. And Horton says, well, I've seen you before. And then they started to talk. And as they started to talk, the egg started to hatch and it started to make noises. Then Macy insisted, well, that's my egg. That's not yours, that's my egg, I want it back. And they're looking at that egg and they're looking at the egg and there it goes, the egg. And she said, it's mine, that's my egg and you stole it from me. Horton backed up and with a scary heart, and all of a sudden the egg bursts open and Horton saw something whiz. Who knows what happened when the egg hatched? What came out? Come on now. Come on. What came out of that egg?
Baby elephant.
Huh?
Baby elephant.
A baby elephant. Pretty close. It was an elephant bird. Hey, there it is. It's an elephant bird. A faithful that person was. He promised his word and he did it 100%. Because Horton was faithful 100%. And they thought about it, and Horton took the baby, and they went home, and they were all happy 100%. Isn't that a good story?
Yeah.
And that point, yeah, it is. It's a good story. And and I was, as she was going through that, I was thinking, man, that can apply to lots and lots of things. You think about it, and then I'm thinking about, well, how about Father's Day? Fathers, we have some responsibility here. Maybe don't sit on the eggs, but we're responsible for development and all that kind of thing, And I found out over the years that, the more time we as fathers spend with our children, the more like us, good or bad, they will become. And if Horton sat on that egg a long time, and the more he sat on the egg, the more like him that became. And that's sort of our message that, is that Horton had a tough job, and he gave his word he was going to do it. And I think before I raised my children, I think to say, I do, I will. And we helped raise those children, and that's a great responsibility. So God bless all of us that are fathers today, and that's part of our message. The second thing that I need to report to you about today, I guess, is some of the actions that occurred in the actual business part of the meeting. And that couple of things really touched us here at Painesville. First of all was the stuff about the camping ministries. Our camping ministries in the United Methodist Church in Minnesota is in the red, $900,000. Things have been going well for camping ministry. You can imagine, again, the world is changing and things have to be done, and it isn't filling up the camps like it used to be back, surely like I was a kid and some of you were younger, that when you went to camp, we had some great memories about it. So the committee met for 3 years and came up with a proposal, and the proposal was to consolidate some of the camps even more and then sell some of the camps off. And of course, Coronas Ministries was not one of them. They're one of the key stones of the whole camping program. But along with that came the idea that we need to do some changes. Again, the modern world isn't the same as it was, when I was a youngster, and we didn't have computers and cell phones and all that kind of stuff. And when I went to camp, we didn't have any electronics with us. We just went to camp. And nowadays, kids want camps with all kinds of other benefits to it. So we as a representative group did a little bit of changing there, but just to let you know that some things are going to happen in ministries, camping ministries, and some changes that we made, but hopefully to draw more young people into the ministries to help them with the word of the Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. The budget was approved for the next year, and that's good. It wasn't any increase, which is good, or very little increase, but the but part of the whole thing is that, as we shrink in attendance membership, That means that the dollars flowing into the pot get smaller and smaller. And we've been doing that, holding the line for a couple years now, several years now, and we're not seeming like we're getting any better. So by holding the line and the budget means we're actually shrinking, or the obligation for us is getting larger, and we need to take a look at that, and some things need to get done. Yeah, again, like I said, it's a repeating word. It's something they've been preached at us. We've preached that for years now, and things are going to have to happen. On the most positive side of the whole thing, the whole conference was no more, or imagine no malaria. And it's amazing that, you know, when we first found out that we were pledged to put $1.8 million into No More Malaria, we have membership of 75,000 people in United Methodist Church in Minnesota. That's a lot of money per person. And and as a church, well, we asked a whole lot of money, like not quite 21,000, I think. That's a lot of money for us to doll out for this. But you know what happened? Because we worked at it really hard, at the end of the conference, we had given $2.5 million were pledged for No More Malaria, and the numbers are growing. So if we make our minds up to do something and bite the bullet a little bit, we can get things accomplished. So at that point, when the bishop told us that, we were all on our feet clapping for ourselves, because that is really good. And we are the prime example for the United States of America, our annual conference of the giving for No More Malaria. We are the top, and we're the example for the rest of the states. You know, they say, if Minnesota can do it, we surely can do it. You know, so that's really a good thing. The controversial part, and I need to explain it a little bit to you if you haven't heard, we had a vote on to support or not support the Minnesota constitutional amendment on marriage, one woman and one man, and we voted not to support it, 400 to 169. And that means that the people who were at the annual conference voted. You didn't vote, I voted, but you didn't vote, and that's how the people that were there felt about it. And as Pastor Rick told me, you know, one thing about being a Methodist is United Methodist is you make up your own mind. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. You need to look at the facts and do it yourself. So that representation of that vote was just us that were there. It's not you. So when it comes to the election in November and you need to make a vote, you search the facts and take a look at what you feel and how you feel about it, and vote to your heart, maybe through a little bit of prayer, and do what you think is right to take a look at this constitutional amendment. It's getting a lot of publicity, and I'm seeing my time run out. I couldn't handle 5 minutes, and now I can't handle 20, so I guess I'm running. But just to wrap it up, Bishop Sally Dick is leaving us. She has put in 2 terms with the Minnesota Annual Conference, and she'll be moving on, you know, not 100% sure, but 99% sure they're moving on. There are 10 other annual conferences in the United States, and she'll be moving to one of them. She is, like I said before, is a very good leader, very strong leader, to the point. I've been in a group with her. I was in the Holy Land with her and her husband Ken, and Pastor Rick and I, we went through that, and she just stands out as being something really super. Originally from Berea, Ohio, and in my younger year I was in Cleveland, Ohio for 6 years, so that's close to where I was, so I get a little bit of her background in there. And she's going to be leaving us, and it's going to, hopefully the person coming in can even come close to what she does, because she was just really good, and whoever gets her is going to be blessed. And the other thing that I need to report every year is that the list of people who will be, what their assignments were for the next year was handed out, and Pastor Rick is going to be with us at least for 1 more year. And he smiles when he says that, but he says probably more than that too, so he'll be with us for a while. But, and to wrap it up, is I've kind of decided to move on, and I've resigned. So this will be the last time, you know, thank God, that you'll have to listen to my annual report. And I'll leave it up to Luann next time to give you the annual report. And it's been a privilege and an honor. And you know, when the annual session came to an end, I had a little bit of tinge in my heart about a little sad feeling that it was fun to be there and it's fun to represent you, and I enjoyed it. But I thought it was time for me to do something else and for somebody else to take over this particular role. So with that, I'll turn it back to Luann. You ready? Thank you.